This is Gemara Shavuos Daf Mem Tes, an exciting day, Baruch Hashem. A journey through Mesechas Shavuos, not an easy journey, but a journey that Baruch Hashem will be reaching the end of the Mesechta. Of course, that brings us to the call of Chazara to gain some clarity. But for now, let's learn at least time one. We like all the learning, especially on this momentous day. It should be an incredible Zchos Refuah Shalema. For Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva, the incredible Kayach HaTorah, the Schos HaTorah, the Schos of a ganze Mesechta should bring this wonderful baby, Tinok ben Miriam Ahuva, a complete Refuah Shalema, as well as Klal Yisrael wages battles. We like all the learning to be as the Chos for Achenu Kol Beis Yisrael and Isunim Batzara Uba Shivya. Ramim Chesem Beis, we're about 12 lines from the bottom. Veilu Nishmayim, as we quote the Mishnah that taught us the following: you have to swear without having when there's no taina. Says the Gemara, what in the world is going on over here? Atu b'shuftani askinon. You're going to make a shvuah when there's no taina. What does the Mishnah mean? Says the Gemara, Hachi Kamar Veilu Nishmayim Sheloi Betainas Bari Ella Betaina Shema. There's only a Taina Shema, but yet you still have to swear. Now, what are the cases that Shotvim Arisim, partners, sharecroppers, etc.? Tanu learned in a Braisa, Ben Bayish Amru. When we said Ben Bayis, doesn't mean one who walks in and out of a property, but rather Ella Machnes Loi Poyalin. Rather, it means one who hires workers for the estate. He dismisses the workers. He brings in the fruit. Someone who's intrinsically tied with this estate, with this property. So says the Gemara, why are these cases different that you have to make a shvuah even for a taina shema? Says Gemara, you know why? Because in all of these cases, one has a Mayra heter. One is a Mayra heter that he says to himself, no, I can keep some of their property. Because of that, we impose a shvuah even on a taina shema. Amar Rav Yosef Rabbi Nimyam Rav Nachman v'hu sheyesh taina beineim shtei kesef, at least a game of two kesef. Keman kishmol, as we see in Ahav Ten Rav Chia l'siyua l'Rav ema kfiras taina kirav. Says the Gemara, must mean that he has a denial for something worth 2 silver ma, like the shita of Rav. We continue 8 lines at the bottom. Chalku hashotvim v'harisin. That once they divide up the property, said the Mishnah, then there cannot be a shvuah later on. Ibaylu ma'u legalgel b'drabon. What about a Gilgal Shvuah, that if there's a different Shvuah, the Rabbanan, could they roll it on to this case as well? Tashima, Loivemenu, Erev Shvi'is. Someone borrowed money, Erev Shvi'is, Maizai Shvi'is, Nasa Loi Shotif. He becomes partner, Zayaris, or a sharecropper. Ein migalgin, you cannot roll a shvuah onto them. Taima, says the Gemara, it seems that why the why in this case not? Because when Shemitah came, it severed. Then halva, hoshar shnei shvuah, if it was any other year, then indeed, there should be a Megalglin, there should be a Gilgal Shvuah from a Shvuah D'Rabbanan, even in the case of Shotvim, even in the case of Arisim. Says the Gemara, no raya. Loi Tema Shar Shnei Shvuah Megalglin, 4 lines to the bottom, Elaima, you should be reading the Braisa. Nasa Loi Shotv Aris, Erev Shvi'is, U'Mazai Shvi'is, Loi Vaymen Megalglin. But what? Ha Behedya. But the Braisa says explicitly such a case. So Shema Mina. So indeed we have a raya megaglin midrabanan. Shema Mina. We do indeed have such a raya. Amar Rav Huna, says Rav Huna, as we turn over to Memzes Amid Aleph, wrapping up the perek, paving the road for a short Perek to end the Masechta, says Rav Huna, Lakol Megalgalin, everyone has a case of a Gilgal, Shvua Chutz Misachir, except for the case of a hired worker, Shein Megalgalin. Rav Chisda Amar, Lakol Ein Mekilin Chutz Misachir, Demekilin. My Beinayu, Ike Beinayu, Leftoyach Loi. The chilik is going to be, if you could open up the case for him, Im loy ta'ana teiv, as Rashi says, shegagol yiftechu loy bezdin. Will bezdin create the case of Gilgal? According to the opinion, it says megalgin. According to Mandam, ein mekilin. According to Rav Chisda, then ein mekilin alav ella megalglin. But if he doesn't make the taina, then bezdin will not taina it for him. Vashmias mishametes. The previous Mishnah concluded that Shemitah cancels Menani Mili. Amar Rav Gidel Amar Rav Damar Krav Zed Dvara Shmita Vafilu Dibur Mishametes, cancels even Dibur, even Shvuos are canceled by Shmita Hadron Aloch Kol Hanish Ba'in. And the final Perek over here is going to get involved in the Shvuos Hashaymin, the Shvuos Hapikadin. Let's get right involved. Arba Shaymin, and as everyone has been realizing, a lot of these halachos, really, we've touched upon Bava Metzia and Bava Kama and other Ksubis and other areas, and now we get to see the Makar itself. Says the Mishnah for Shaimim, of course, we know the Shemer Chainam, a free watchman, Asher Labar, Noisei Sachar, and a Sachar. Shaimer Chinam, what's that Allah? Chanishval Kol Spurs and everything. Asher Labar, Mishalim, as I call, Noisei Sachar. A paid watchman, they swear if it's broken or captive, if it dies, they pay for losing it, just like an if it gets stolen. Now articulates the cases. So when it says where's my shahar? Amar loy Mason died. So what does he claim? He claimed it died, but in reality, that's not what happened. It broke. He got captured. He got stolen. It was lost. Nishbar. Or if he says it was broken, but in reality, or Nishba. He claims it was captured. In reality, or Nignav. He said it was stolen, and in reality, Nishba. Or Avad. Nishba. Nignav. So in all of the aforementioned permutations that are possible, and then what happens is Mashviach Ani says, I want you to swear V'amaramein. The halacha is potter in these cases from the karban asham and from paying the extra 1/5. Case number 1 in the Mishnah, and the reason is, since a shomer chinam is potter from all these cases, therefore there'll be no karban and there'll be no additional chaimish. Case number 2, if someone goes over to a shomer chinam and says, Eichan shayri, Amar lo yini yodeh, I don't know. Ma tasach. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but in reality, so again, it's not that he timed it so it didn't happen. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. Case number 3, it was lost. And that it wasn't indeed lost, but rather he ate it. That's the case. And you pay for the base. In the case that someone emits on his own, then you bring the chaimish and the asham to get the kapara. Next case, so it says he said that it was sheganva, that indeed it was stolen. This is a case of kefel. This is the classical case that we have the payment of kefel for geneva. But that's only if the Eidim are the ones that said such. But if someone on his own admitted, then the halacha is that similar to what we saw a moment ago. Mishalem, Karen, v'chaimish, v'asham. Amar lecha b'shok. If someone says someone in the marketplace, Echad shari, shegan nafta. Where's my shar that you stole? Amar like nafta, I didn't steal it. But guess what? V'edim I say shegan, but that he did steal it. 5 lines to the bottom. Mishalim tashlu make kefel tavachumachar. If he slaughtered or stole it, then If someone sees Eidim coming, the Ganav sees Eidim coming, and then he admits right away and he says Ganavti, but he says Avaloi Tavachti V'lo Macharti. Then in Mishal Melekar. Amar that's the end of the cases of Shomer Chinam. Now we move on to a Shayel, a borrower. The last line, Amar L'Shal Echan Shayel, where's my shar? Amar Lo, he responds, Mace, it died. And in a similar vein to we saw by the Shomer Chinam, we're going to go through all four possible permutations of what really indeed happened. So again, the Shayel says what happened, that it was mace, but in reality, or he says it was broken, nishbar. In reality, or nishbar was he said it was captured, but in reality, or nignav, he said it was stolen. And in reality, or avad. In reality, and he says, Mashbiach Aniva Maramein, Potter, he is Potter. Next case, Echon Shari. I don't know, what are you talking about? But in reality, Mashbiach Aniva Maramein, Chayiv. Such a case, he is Chayiv to the carbon and for the Chaimesh. Amar Linoisi Sachar Vasoicher. The next two cases, a paid watchman or a renter, Echon Shari, where's my Sharmale Maze. But in reality, again, what he said it died, whereas in reality it was nishbar nishba, or nishbar, and in reality vushamesa nishba, or nishba vushamesa nishbar, or nigna vusha avad vusha nigna. In all these cases, mashbiach aniv amar amein. What's the halach on the second white line? Potter, mace. But if let's say what happened is he says it died, but in reality, one more time, Meis Nishva, and again, this is really just creating the chart over here. We know that a Sachar and a Seicher are more chayif. So if he claims either it was Meis Oy Nishba, but in reality, then he's chayif. Avad, if he claimed it was lost, but in reality, on that he is potter. And this goes back on the whole Mishnah. Says the Mishnah, someone changes from one thing that he's chayiv to another thing. Umi potter le potter. One case he's exempt, another case. Umi potter le chayva, potter mi chayva. Or from... No, I read it wrong. One more time. Go back for a second. One more time. Zaka. Or mi patel and pater. Or mi patel l'chayva. In any of those three cases, the halacha is pater. But if he changed mechayva li pater, then chayiv. Zakal kol anishba lahakel alatzmai chayiv lahachmer alatzmai. He's going to be pater. So says the Gemara. We started off the Mishnah, Arba Shoimrim Heim. Man Tana Arba Shoimrim Amram Nachman Amrav. This is Rabbi Meir. He Amrle Rav Rav Nachman Mika Tana the Leslie Arba Shoimrim. You're asking who's the Tana? Is there someone who says there isn't? Amrle Achi Kamin Al Chas. What I meant. Man Tana Damer Seichei Kenoisei Sachar Dami. Who's the Tana that says that the two of them are equal? And on that is what we are responding. Amr Nachman Ravua. That it is Remeir. Rameir held the opposite. The Tanan. So why are you telling me that Rameir is the opinion that says the Seicher is K'nai Sachar? We see the opposite. That Rameir holds on Seicher is K'shem Echlina. Rabbi Ravua Ibchatani. He learned the opposite. Ani Arba Ibchatani. He learned the opposite. Says the Gemara. Hani Arba Vishloish Havoy. We said Arba Shaimrim. Then we went to list three because Seicher and Naisi Zachar are the same. Amar Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Arba Shaimrim, but Dineim Shleisha. Amar the Shaimer Chinam. If someone says the Shaimer Chinam Echan Shari, where's my shar? Amar Lecha V'Shok. Amar the Shaimer V'Chul Echan Shari. Amar Leini Yodei Mata Sach V'Chulu. So we quote all the case of the Mishnah and says the Gemara, Amar Rav, ve'ekulan betura mishvua shaymer, they're all potter. But v'chayavim misham shvuas bitoy. They're not chayav for shua shaymer. Chayav for saying a false shvua. Shmolam afatur misham shvuas bitoy. But Micah Mifkli, what is this machlekes in Rav and Shmuel? Shmuel savar lesa blaba, Rav savar isa belav vehin. Shmuel holds that what says the Gemara, since the shvua cannot be made lahaba, therefore there's no chiyuv for Rav savar isa belav vehin. But since you can make them yes or no, therefore there's going to be a chiyuv. We had this machlekes already. V'afligu b'chad zimna deitmar. Shvuah shezarik ploini Yisrael yam. Shvuah shleizarik Rava merchayev shmalam merpater. Why? Rava merchayev disam lavim shmalam merpater lesalaba. So why do we need to say the same exact case by us? Says the Gemara. I'll tell you why. Srich. Diashvina baba kamar Rav misham deminavsha kamishtaba. Why? Says the Gemara. If we only said the case in the case of the tzurar, I would have thought Rav says the case in that case that you're chayiv because he swears on his own. Avol hak le'as the beidin mishtabel beis makes him make the shvuah model Shmuel. Maybe he would be admitting to Shmuel. Why? Kid Rav Ami, the Amar Rav Ami, 2 lines, why lines? Kol shvuah shadayanim mashbin isa. So maybe in that case, the Rav would like Shmuel, like Rav Ami, that since it was that obligation by Bezdin, they wouldn't create a chiyuv. And if he Yitmar Baha by us, I would have thought Shmuel Ava Bahach in the case of the pebble Yitzrar and Madi the Rav, Shricha, therefore we need both cases. And finally says the Gemara, let's go a little bit in Kufa. What is this din of Rav Ami? Amar Rav Ami kol shvuah shadena mashvina isayin be'ah mishum shuas bitoy. Why? Shenemar or nefesh kis travel about this the same. Me'atzmai has to be only if you created a chiyuv on yourself. The word ki can be used in 4 ways. Idilma ella or teha. The word ki can mean if, can mean perhaps, it can mean but, or it can mean because. Why? The shoving neva v'avedin is excuse me. Chutz min yodea matasach deshoyel, and ugneva avedin is v'shebeseicher. In those cases, you chayiv. Why shari kafra b'mammon? Because in those cases, there is a unique kfira that's happening b'mammon, and because it's a kfira on mammon, therefore there will be a chiyav hadron alach. Arba shoymrim uslik Allah meseches Shavuos. Okay, I don't know what happened. There's supposed to be some fireworks. They're not working. But we end with a tefillah, b'siyata d'shmaya. The same way we finished the Masechta, albeit quite a difficult one. We should continue chazering, learning together. Amirza Hashem.